Now, some of you may have seen my last video catch a little bit of flack because I was going too heavy-handed on the old wizard fingers, so let's just get her out of the way, yeah? I think even if that was your first exposure to Darktide, you don't have the severe mental disabilities necessary to think you should exclusively use taser hands to win a game. However, if you want to, I don't care, more power to you. As long as you're contributing, you're pulling your own weight, and you're kinda helping me out, that's fine by me. As a matter of fact, I'd like to see you in a match sometime. We will form a beautiful relationship where you hold their hair and I kick him in the teeth. We'll even trade gloves and boots for anniversary gifts, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Some of the complaints brought to mind something that I think has been jacking up games the last few years. It's this obsessive need for optimization that I'm seeing everywhere. More importantly, it's the criticism of those preferring to play for fun that seems to come along with it. I'm not exactly sure when this whole min-maxing or meta nonsense started gaining real traction. Maybe some of you game historians can help me out with that, but I can only assume it was probably something involving World of Warcraft or the like. Somewhere that you really had to obsess about optimization and fine-tuning every aspect of your gear, because it really was the difference between success and failure. However, we gotta do something about letting it bleed over into every game imaginable. Improving stuff is fun. Of course it is. It's why we work to get resources in our games to begin with. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people spending so much time obsessing over what's the best and minor adjustments to make the ever so perfect weapon that they forget the most important part of games. They're turning these things into fucking math class, trying to perfect an equation instead of simply letting themselves have fun, just taking the fuck it we ball approach. And if you're not doing it with them, for some reason they get irrationally upset. Now when I say these next bits, I want to clarify. I'm only taking issue with people who find it appropriate to demand others play in a certain way to conform to their standards. There's these real cool things called free will, creativity, and mystery. Each and every person you meet carries a little bit of those with them, and it's what makes people so wonderful. Some a little less, some way more, but that's the fun of it. You get to find out what's going on behind those eyes with every new person you meet. These are traits that ought to be fostered, not stifled. But when we demand someone conform to a mold, not one of their own making no less, well, that's just a surefire way to choke those qualities out. You may give someone an answer sheet and they'll ace the test, but they'll just memorize the numbers. They won't retain jack shit. Quit trying to turn people into a checklist or trying to make them fulfill that to play your game. Get them on their feet and then let them figure out how to walk from there. Don't tell them that the lemon is sour. Let the little fucker take a bite. Maybe they'll end up liking it. We don't know. What I'm saying with these analogies are, don't step on a new player's toes telling them a gun or perk is inherently bad just because it is. They need to figure that out on their own. By all means, suggest things, but don't go telling them whatever equipment is trash just because you don't like it. Maybe they'll think it sucks too, but let it be their choice. Maybe they'll turn out to really enjoy it. Hell, maybe they'll end up using it pretty well. By pressuring someone to walk a narrow hallway, they're only going to think narrow thoughts. You are inadvertently, or maybe even purposefully, depriving the community of a free thinker capable of approaching problems from a unique perspective. They could be the one who figures out the new big movement tech or weapon combination. There's no telling what heights they will achieve or what unorthodox means they'll use to get there. They have to be allowed to go out and make mistakes, then learn from those fuck-ups and grow in their own way. Now, for some reason, I actually know the reason, hold on, that comes later. There's this simultaneous push for optimizing everything in a class while also shitting on any easy-to-use options. That doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense, and here's why. The ends for both are the same. It's to make the game easier for yourself. Now, you can say using the easier weapon is less skilled, and you'd likely be right. However, one could also say why not use the easier option if you're trying to min-max your gear to make the game flow smoother. It's not fun? Well, fun is subjective. People get to pick and choose what's entertaining to them. Sometimes, and I know this will come as a shocker, people can enjoy different shit. In addition, they paid money for their game and they can succeed in how they please with it. Hell, they can fail in how they want to. Nobody gets to dictate that, and they get an opinion on how the game should perform. You gotta be one miserable pile of fuck to get up in arms about people using good tools that are built into a game to progress through the game. You're getting mad because it was cold outside and you decided to make a fire wearing a t-shirt while the guy next to you just brought a fucking coat with him. You know what it is? It's the equivalent of those like 30 to 40-year-old ironworkers that got a hold of TikTok, and now they just go around making duets with random-ass trade school students saying, "You got soft hands, brother. I don't use a helmet. I put my eyeball directly on the weld." It's a real shame that you did that, but I'm not sorry that you chose to stake your pride in doing the difficult route, and you're upset that someone's doing it easier and, quite honestly, in a more sensible way. I'm going to keep encouraging doing whatever works and feels fun for people. I suggest using the crutch and slowly working yourself off of it, but if you don't want to, fuck it. Who cares? If you're with the people you want to be around, you're doing what you want to do, and it's working, well, my friend, everyone else can go piss into the wind because their opinions mean jack shit. I also find, it's kind of funny, that these are the same sorts of people that constantly complain that their randoms are trash. If your randoms are bad, why the fuck would you not want to increase their chances for success by encouraging them towards the easier options? You're really gonna try to keep pushing a fucking car uphill while it's got the parking brake on and no gas in the tank. Not only that, you're doing it while you stare through the rear view windshield at a full gas can. By all means, if that's what you love to do, suffer in silence, I don't mind. As a matter of fact, I'll support you in doing it. But do not hate on somebody because they decided to use the gas can. If you are that unfathomably terrified of someone in your lobby using strong resources and easing your gameplay loop, well, here's what you gotta do. Learn how to make some friends, now that's the real max difficulty setting for you, and play in private away from the people enjoying themselves. You get your difficulty, and the public doesn't have to deal with you. It's a win-win as far as all of us are concerned. Let's take a look at Space Marine 2 here for a second, and let's also pretend that the game is difficult for a moment because it's just the most recent example. The Melta is sort of an instant win button. That doesn't mean break it over your knee and chastise everyone who's ever used it. It just means don't fucking bring it if you want more challenge. Wow, what a difficult concept. I can't believe this. Note, I am not saying devs should drag the overall difficulty of the game down. I disagree with that almost wholeheartedly. Just you, as the player, don't drag in the instant win button if you want the game to be harder. And if you say, well, I can't control what other people bring in, what if somebody else brings the instant win button? Okay, leave. Don't play those people. If you have an issue with it, you can see yourself out into a different lobby. You're the one with the problem, after all. When you get into a match with randoms, you are getting a random variety of people. That's just kind of how it works. If it's that big of a problem, once again, go learn how to make some fucking friends. You're on with randoms, that means there's people awake. Go be likable and make some that actually conform to your ideals. Moral is, some folks are just gonna hate seeing others achieve the same result that they chose to overcomplicate in reaching, even when it takes nothing from them. You still achieved the result through hard work. You have the satisfaction of having done that. It's not like people are throwing you a fucking parade or going, "Ooh, I'm so impressed that you have a gold name tag." Now, sure, they can say it cheapens the accomplishment, but this isn't even a competitive theater. It's a purely player versus environment game, and they're using in-game mechanics to get there, so who the fuck cares? Ego tripping over people using tools in a video game that make it easier for them is lame as hell. It's not like there's this massive coalition to make the game easier. Oh hell, the devs are making it more difficult in the next update. Whatever. People are just upset that someone isn't going through the same degree of struggles that they went through. Good job. You made a leisure activity more difficult for yourself. Is that what you needed? The approval of a father figure? Well, here's some more fatherly advice from me to you. Go touch some grass. Go pet a dog. Go get your dick sucked or something. Fuck, I don't know. Maybe go suck someone else's dick. That's probably more your speed anyways. You can optimize it for the taste. Until then, thank you, fuck you, goodbye. All three of those applied to different folks listening to this.